I'm just joking, but the sound as well, obviously. How's that look? So, air in the gate. Oh no, we're going again? No? Good, we got it. Superb.
Thank you very much for that.
No worries, fellas and ladies, you get back in there. This premier gigging venue, the Anvil, you know it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are Mistakes. Providing a little bit of punk rock for you this evening. Many thanks for those who came before us. And we're looking forward to the Fire Wire Dolls right after. But in the meantime, it is going to sound a little something like this. You big take off your coat and come on in. Somewhere ready to fucking go. Some of us are so far. No one cannot speak for me. But I don't smoke and that's something. So I don't wanna die. One embassy, but alright. When the thing got through this. Alright. What the doctor has to say. Alright. Mistakes, but we need it. Alright. When we hit a fucking day.
A few years ago, yeah, I mean, right at the start it was busy, big scene, and then maybe, I'd say from about 4 years ago, it kind of died out a bit, or at least it seemed it did. Like, the Casualties came down and played at Champions, there was like 20 people there, it's fucking weird for a band that big, like, but it's picking up. We played with Booze and Glory recently and that sold out, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, when we were kids, like, 14, 15 and what have you, there used to be a huge, filthy bunch of us grebos knocking around in Bournemouth Gardens and stuff. Like, you'd wander down on any day of the week, there'd be about 20 or 30, 40 kids knocking about, all causing trouble, skating, doing things we probably shouldn't want to do. But it was a big music thing, and the punk and stuff was a huge part of that as well. We had some older kids who we used to look up to and be a bit scared of, and they'd like have, proper mohawks and spikes and what have you, so then we'd get a bit older and spike our hair and all that. And the Bournemouth punk thing was huge for ages. And then it all got a bit sketchy. There were a lot of fights and a lot of trouble and a lot of police, and we all grew up a bit, I suppose, and had to get proper jobs. And then it kind of went away, and I don't think it ever came back. Like, there was never a new generation that came in and carried on. That whole emo deal happened, which didn't help. And I don't know. I don't know how these kids operate these days, mate. I went 30 the other day. I don't have a clue. I'm sick of them, horrible little creatures. But yeah, no, I reckon it's probably to do with the times in which we are living. They talk about 30-year cycles in terms of fashion and, well, politics pertinently at the moment, but I'm not about to get into that. We're not anti-flag. But it seems like we're coming to a point now where things are getting a little bit moody, and it's probably a nice time to have a little bit of aggressive music that, kind of doesn't just stick a finger up, but maybe is smart with it and has a nice guitar solo on top. So that's about where we're at. I used to get a lift to school when I was a kid with a bloke called Dom Patience, who now runs Chalk Ink Promotions, which put on a bunch of stuff around here. And he used to play all this crazy music I'd never heard before in the car when we were getting driven in. And it got in my head, and then I went all wayward and such, so it's basically his fault, but I hadn't really went back.
In the intro, that's a record, right? Anyway, we are the Mistakes, or at least 80% of them. Our lead guitarist fell off his bike and hurt himself. Yeah. So we're just going to have to bloody manage. But we're going to do a damn fine job playing songs like Bipolar Curious.
Set in stone?
Well, let's play that then.
Yeah!
Right!
Local bands actually. Gould here was in a band called Diablos, Shane was in one called Dislocated Youth, I was in one called Red Sandstone. Lewis is about 12, so I don't suppose there's a story there. Richie played Pump Action Radio, still does, but we don't talk about that. And yeah, we pretty much got together off the back of a few of those going down and ended up doing what we do now. It's been maybe 5, 6 or 7 years, and yeah, we've been having a lovely time. It's nice. I've known that guy, well, I think me and Shane first met when I was a naughty young man and sold some licorice to some skinheads in a van, as for no reason, just thought I'd like some, and they didn't like it very much and came back and tried to kill Shane, and then I got away and he got blamed, and ever since we were best friends.
My dad's been like a lifelong punk fan, to be fair, ever since I was a kid. It's like the only music I was ever brought up on. It's the only thing that I've ever listened to, so I always knew that I wanted to play, and that's how it went. Listen to music, I wanted to play it. It was Dislocated Youth. It was very, very minimal musically, but we did have our first gig in London at the Lord Sesson in Hackney, so that was cool. We played with the Verucas, Rabies Babies, and Charlie Harper from the UK Subs came up on stage and sung Party in Paris, which is pretty mind-blowing when you're like 14 and you don't really know what's going on. It was awful. We played Party in Paris for him, and I fucked the song up, so I threw him off, but that was cool. Sorry.
I don't know, I think you can look at it in like eras, right? Like you go 70s was, say, the end of rock and roll and the start of punk and stuff. 80s you got your new wave, like the old 82 punk thing. 90s was fucking Spice Girls and that nonsense, boy bands and such. Noughties was, I don't know, I guess Euro music and things like that. And now we're in, what would you call it, like the teen-tees? That sounds retarded. Not the 20s is when it makes sense again, yeah? Like the 10-tees, I'm going to go with 10-tees. The 10-tees is when punk comes back. The teens, no. The year between the noughties and the 20s is when punk comes back. No, the decade. Now, us, yeah.
It just seems about the right sort of time with everything that's going on as well. You know, I mean, with the whole sort of Brexit thing, you know, it kind of just makes sense to really, I don't know, sort of, you know, jump on it really as well.
Yeah, true enough.
You know, it's pretty much sort of, like you said a minute ago, it's kind of going around again, do you know what I mean? So it's like, seems like the right sort of time just to rise, you know, especially with the music, the people behind it, the scene. I mean, well, that's my opinion, but...
Oh man, if we had to like rattle off the main... We had a review once where the bloke said I sounded like Joe Strummer, and I liked that. Oh. I don't agree with him, but no, I'm getting that in everywhere.
Never shut up about it.
No,
I don't know.
Decent.
I would say bands like Rancid, NoFX,
yeah.
UK Subs, The Clash.
See The Clash.
Maybe like a little splash of the King Blues in there every now and again, maybe. Modern punk bands.
It's pretty much what we grew up listening to, but again, we don't all listen to punk in our free time and what have you. Like, we got a couple of guys here who dig metal and stuff like that, so a lot of that influence kind of bleeds across. As much as we try to stop it, it's unstoppable. And, you know, it kind of works out into a really unique sound, and I like it myself. So it's difficult to say exactly what we sound like, because we don't really kind of stick down to the one thing. Man, that is just pretentious music wank to say, isn't it? You can't really pigeonhole us at all.
This one's for you, falling down the captain's cover. Dreaming to fly, shut no one turn you in the gutter. Picking up the pieces, obviously we'll find that ocean. Tell the back to where we never stop forever. Those legends are refusing. On the title, get a travel for my gratitude. The travel singing is just like it doesn't fit. Singles there, moving though I'm no practitioner. I think that even if I think it's all alone, we can say like this forever. Right on and bring it on, my friend. You'll never, ever, ever be alone again.
Basically, Never Be Quiet, it's like a punk rock family label, so it's taking all the bands that we like from around the South Coast, which nowadays there's like a lot. there was a period maybe like 3-4 years ago where there was no new bands. You were just listening to like the same shit. But nowadays you've got people like Five Go Mad who tour everywhere. They're cool. You've got people like Murderers Row, Kill the Colossi, the Crash Landings, the Mistakes. It's just, remember years ago, like the old Epitaph stuff, the Hellcat stuff. I don't know if you guys are into that kind of punk, but you know, it was all those bands kind of just banding together under one label, going out touring together, just having a laugh. So that's what it's about, bringing all the good bands together and getting it out across the country. Yeah. Let's get to sell more merch. We get to have more fun. Like you say, it's a family, so it's good.
What the fuck can find together?
We've just released the first MBQ comp, which is like a selection of a load of decent local bands, you know, kind of in the style of Give 'Em a Boot that Hellcat used to do, or Punkorama, that sort of thing. We've got one of those out these days, Volume 1. We're going to keep them rolling, get more bands under it, get more stuff going. First one, we've just gone really simple. It's just 3 bands with a couple of tracks each, kind of like a little demo-y one to jump off with, but we've already got a hell of a lot of interest for the next. So next time's probably going to be a decent like double-length 18-20 track album.
Yeah, it'll be a big one.
Yeah. And then eventually we'll have such a nice little family down here with MBQ and everything else that every goddamn band on the South Coast is going to be talking and networking and having a nice time, and that will be the future, and it will be nice.